All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for those of you that are able to join. It's the CJ Curry Show. It's presented by PrizePicks. If you don't play on PrizePicks yet, they're doing a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit all the way up to $100. Promo code CURRY is how you take advantage of that. There's a link down in the description below if you're not already on PrizePicks. Get signed up today. It's daily fantasy made easy, guys. We're having a fantastic time tackling NBA. We've got NFL going on. College basketball starts up today. So lots of different ways to play on PrizePicks. It's a great way to play daily fantasy sports. Appreciate the folks that are in here this morning. We've got Mike from the Fours in here. He says, let's go. We got Roy in the building. He says, new day at the office. Appreciate you for being here. Kyle says, good morning, CJ. Took a week off. Now let's get on to this big slate. Tony Ruiz says, money making Monday. Let's go. NFL and NBA today. Listen, gang. Every single NBA team is going to be in action today. We've got 30 teams. 15 games, a full NBA slate, man. A full NBA slate awaits, so there's a lot to talk about. I got a few picks lined up that we'll dive into. We'll do the research together. Then we'll take a Q&A portion of the show toward the end of the live stream. You guys can leave your favorite picks. I'll take a look at those for you, answer as many questions as possible. We'll try to keep it under an hour. I know there's going to be a lot to discuss. So Jay to the Rome says, I may have to go 2 hours today. 2-hour stream? No, say it ain't so. I don't know if we could go 2 hours, bro. We'll try to tackle as much as we can, though. All right, so before we get into our favorite picks and everything like that, let's go ahead and start the day off by solving for Poeltl. Poeltl is a word game similar to Wordle, if those of you are familiar with that. Basically, we have to try to figure out who the mystery player of the day is. So I'm going to need your help, those of you that are watching. Appreciate you being a part of what we're doing here. What's up, Bucks? Thanks for being here. So let's solve Poeltl today. Today's thumbnail player of the day was Anthony Edwards. Well, we had Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, but we'll start with Ant Edwards. He is not the mystery player, however. Does not play for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Is not in the Western Conference. So we're looking for an Eastern Conference player who is a guard, who is shorter than 6'4", older than 21, and wears a jersey number above the number 1. So that kind of gives us a starting point, right? Anthony Edwards, not the guy, but we know that this player is a guard who's probably a point guard, being that this player is shorter than 6'4". What about one of these guys who joined a new team this season? What about Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers? He's a pretty short guy, right? 6'1", but it's not Donovan Mitchell either. But this player is in the Eastern Conference, plays in the Central Division, does play guard, is about 6'1" to 6'3", we'll call it, somewhere between 6'2", 6'3". Donovan Mitchell, not quite old enough, 26 years old. We know this player is older than 26 years old. And the jersey number of 45 is too high. We're looking for a jersey between 2 and 44 at this point. 2 and 44. Seeing some guesses out there. You guys are saying Trae Young. Trae Young, is he older than 26? It can't be Trae Young, right? Because he's not in the Central Division. We know he's not in the Central. Fred VanVleet. Ooh, Fred VanVleet might be a good guess. Let's try Fred VanVleet. Not Fred VanVleet. He's in the Atlantic Division. But this player, once upon a time, did play for the Toronto Raptors. So at least we know that much. Fred VanVleet, a little too short as well. 6 foot. I thought he was a little taller than 6 foot. Fred VanVleet, not quite old enough either. He's 28 years old. This player must be a veteran. That's what we have at this point. A veteran player, over 28 years old. Jersey number is going to be below 23. Roy is saying DeMar DeRozan. Some folks are saying Kyle Lowry. Can't be Kyle Lowry because Kyle Lowry is not in the Southeastern Division. I see some folks saying Corey Joseph. And based on this silhouette here, that might be Corey Joseph's head we're looking at. Does that look like Corey Joseph's ears to you guys? I know Corey Joseph, once a member of the Toronto Raptors. You might have got it right here with Corey Joseph. Let's try Corey Joseph, guys. I think it's right. Boom goes the dynamite. It is Corey Joseph. Who was the first one to say Kojo? Was that Cameron? Cameron, you out here guessing Kojo? Congratulations to you, Cameron, for getting Corey Joseph right. We got it done in 4 guesses, gang. Corey Joseph, point guard for the Detroit Pistons. Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time these days, playing behind the likes of Cade Cunningham, right? They just drafted Jaden Ivey. So Corey Joseph, probably like the third string point guard on the Detroit Pistons. You got Livers, however you want to say his name. Killian Hayes is still there, right? So there's a lot of guys that are playing ahead of the vet, Corey Joseph. But it was Kojo. Detroit Pistons plays in the Eastern Conference Central Division, guard, 6'3". Corey Joseph, 31 years old, and he wears number 18. You guys are saying, or Cameron's saying he is a Pistons super fan for real. Well, you guys got a good young squad over there in Detroit. So shout out to you guys. I like watching the Pistons. They're a fun team to watch this season. All right, gang, I want to show you what the community was up to this weekend. We had a fantastic weekend in the Discord. So let's head over to the winner circle. This is the Out of Bounds Discord. Discord's completely free for you guys to join. If you want to take things a step further, if you want to support the content, support the channel, support the show, $20 a month gets you access to the community. I'm posting picks. All of our members in there are posting picks. They're sharing slips. We had a very good Friday. So Friday, they were running the Flex Friday on PrizePicks. Flex Friday basically was a $20 risk-free entry. Well, I ended up putting together a 5-pick. A 5-pick that went 5 for 5 for what is a 10x payout on PrizePicks. 10 times our money. So I threw that one out there and the community ended up cashing. But I want to run through some of what happened this weekend, show off some of these winning slips. These people, they deserve their shine, their time in the spotlight. So Chelsea, one of our soccer gurus inside Discord, won $150. Then you got a $300 winning slip. Again, you get access to all this stuff when you guys join the Patreon. Don P, one of our longtime Patreon members and supporters, one of our community members. His name's in gold because he's part of the Gold Gang. He's good at what he does, so he gets a special gold name inside of Discord. That's his role, part of the Gold Gangs. You could see what he was doing, cashing out some big slips. Rocket Sauce doing his darn thing with some NBA. $25, $75 win. Got King Chris, one of our longtime members. This is the 5-pick that I put together. We had Steven Adams going over his first half fantasy score. Buddy Hield going over 3.5 3-point makes. We'll talk about him in just a moment. Pat Williams cleared his rebounds with 4 boards. On top of that, we had Royce O'Neal's PRA. No Kyrie Irving, no Ben Simmons. Royce O'Neal came through clutch for us against the Washington Wizards. Cade Cunningham for less than 21.5 points going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That one was a sweat because Cade started off really strong in that game. But anyway, this was the 5-pick that I put out to the community. Ended up going for 10x. So shout out to King Chris for tailing that. A lot of thank yous, people winning some big money on that 5 for 5 10x that I threw out there. Here's my slip. I put $50 on it. Ended up cashing out for $500 on Friday. So I had a big day myself. You see my man Calvin Ridley coming through. He had a few nice picks on Friday, cashed in for $600 and another $300. So he almost made a G note just in one night. So Patreon was on fire. Mike from the 4 says, great day to be back in Patreon. Appreciate the recommendations. My man was on a little bit of everything. Hockey, NBA, right? You see all these winning slips in here. Guys, I'm going to just scroll through these. Shout out to Tyrone. Mr. McGrew had himself a fantastic day. Scrolling through here, just a bunch of winning slips posted. This is from Saturday. You can see my man Rocket Sauce just had a train. He had a CVS receipt of winning picks. Here's another one here from Don P. Tim, he cashed out. I mean, just $300. I mean, look at Chelsea coming through with the soccer picks. $1,000 5-pick flex goes 5 for 5. 10x on that $100 entry, ends up coming away with $1,000. On top of that, he had 300 here, 150 there. So this is what we're all about, man. This is what the community is all about. We're sharing information. We're sharing our favorite picks. We're sharing entries. People are tailing, making money. That's what it's all about. Just a positive community. $20 a month. Like I said, it helps support me, helps support the content, the show. And really, it's just a great time. I mean, it's a family atmosphere. So if you guys are looking for something like that, we got it. We got it going on. You could support a content creator like me who's putting out free content and putting out some winning slips. This was from last night. We had Desmond Bain going over points, OG Anunoby over rebounds. We had Paul George over points, Scotty Barnes over points, and Monty Morris under PRA. We'll talk about maybe some unders today. But anyway, this one ended up going for 5x. I posted that one for the community. We had an NFL play. fantasy score, quarterback fantasy score to be exact. Another 5x play there, a couple of 1.5x plays that I threw out there as well. So the community was just on fire. I mean, I could scroll through these all day long. Tony Ruiz coming through. He had a bunch of big wins. So guys, join the Patreon if you haven't yet. Help support me, help support the show, be a part of the community. All right, let's get into today's NBA slate. Now that we got some folks tuned in, appreciate everybody who's here. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you're subscribed. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. Slap the like button and make sure you have notifications turned on. All right, big game, big slate rather. Let's refresh here, make sure we got all the latest injury news, all right? All the latest injury news. Links to Patreon and everything else I got going on are down in the description if you guys have not joined yet. But Washington at Charlotte, first game of the night. This one's a very low-scoring game, though. 214.5 points, just a 2.5-point spread, guys. Keep an eye on Bradley Beal. He's a game-time decision. You got some guys for Charlotte who are truly a coin flip. Dennis Smith Jr. ended up leaving with an injury. Not sure if he's going to play tonight. Martin is a game-time decision. Of course, LaMelo Ball is out and Gordon Hayward are out. So this looks kind of like an ugly game on paper. There may be some opportunities here. You know how big guys do against the Charlotte Hornets, usually pretty well, so maybe Porzingis is in play versus Mason Plumlee tonight, but definitely going to have to stay on top of the news. That's going to be the name of the game with a big slate like tonight's slate. Houston at Orlando, we got to get our first look of regular season action between Paolo Banchero and hopefully Jabari Smith Jr. plays. I want to see these two young bucks lock up, right? Two of the top 3 picks of this year's NBA draft. I'm looking forward as a Magic fantasy and what Paolo Banchero does against Jabari Smith. Banchero had himself a fantastic night the other night, going for over 30 points and double-digit rebounds. So let's see if Banchero can keep things up tonight. Keep an eye on some Houston Rockets news. We've got Jalen Green, game time decision. Jabari Smith Jr., as we mentioned, game time decision as well. And Ty Washington, what a fun name. Game time decision for him. Nice little total, 224.5 with a 4.5-point spread. Okay, OKC versus Detroit, 223.5 points here, 2-point spread. As far as injury news goes, Jalen Duren, game time decision. So their front court might be a little bit thin without him. Marvin Bagley III, who has yet to make his season debut for Detroit. So this could be a fun little game here, right? We've got Cade Cunningham going against the team that resides from where he played college ball, right? Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So that should be a fun little game. SGA versus Cade, Jaden Ivey. So we'll see how things go with that one. 7:45 tip-off between the New Orleans Pelicans and Indiana Pacers. 233.5 points game. A ton of points in this game. That's what I like to see. Totals of 230 or more. These are the type of games where you want to target some overplays, taking the more on some of these guys. All right. Just keep an eye on the news. Once again, that's going to be the name of the game. Zion Williamson, game time decision. If he doesn't play, well, that could shake things up, right? For New Orleans, more usage for McCollum. For Ingram, who just rejoined the lineup recently. Maybe even Jonas Valanciunas makes for a nice play. Over on the Indiana side, nothing real crazy going on there. Miles Turner will play tonight. So they'll have their twin towers in there, Turner and Smith. And then, of course, Tyrese Halliburton's been the man. And I want to talk about Buddy Hield. We'll get into a Buddy Hield pick. Phoenix at Philadelphia. This looks like a pretty good game. Joel Embiid, game time decision. He's missed the last couple of games here. We know James Harden's going to be out for Philadelphia. So will they be shorthanded again without their 2 superstars, right? Harden and Embiid. We'll have to keep an eye out on Embiid, but Harden is definitely ruled out. Don't expect James Harden to play. In his absence, Tyrese Maxey has been balling, y'all. He's been balling. For the Phoenix Suns, no Cam Johnson. Of course, Jay Crowder, he's probably never going to play for the Phoenix Suns again. Weirder things have happened, though. Maybe they work it out. But Cam Payne, a game-time decision. But low total on this game, guys. Just 214.5 points. 2.5-point spread, though. So hopefully it stays close, stays competitive, even though there's not a lot of points expected there. Moving down to the middle of the night here, Milwaukee at Atlanta. A huge matchup here in the Eastern Conference. We got the likes of Giannis as a game-time decision. Of course, Chris Middleton's still out for Milwaukee. Keep an eye on Trae Young. He's a game-time decision. I expect Trae plays. He was a game-time decision last game, ended up suiting up for Atlanta. Milwaukee still 9-0, undefeated. They're looking to keep that streak alive tonight in a heated Eastern Conference battle. 226 points, healthy total with a 4-point spread. So hopefully we get all the stars playing in that game. That will be a fun one to watch. Portland and Miami tips off at 8:30 p.m. For the Portland Trailblazers, they're very thin in the backcourt. What does that mean? Well, Damian Lillard's out, right? Game time decision, I don't think he plays. Anthony Simons, probably even more of a doubtful than a game time decision. Josh Hart, also a game time decision. So they've already, started mounting all these injuries up in their backcourt. So Lillard, Hart, Simons, keep an eye on their backcourt before you lock anything in. Make sure some of these guys are, actually going to play before you take overs or unders on anybody from that game. Miami on the other side, Tyler Herro is a game time decision. If he plays, that's going to obviously be a good matchup for him going against Portland, who might be shorthanded in the backcourt. But Miami's been one of those teams where I just try to avoid them at all costs. Now, this total is 215.5, another low-scoring game, which means fewer possessions. Fewer possessions means fewer shots going up, right? Fewer rebound opportunities, assist opportunities, and point opportunities, etc. So, Toronto at Chicago. I feel like these teams might have just played recently. Am I wrong, chat? Let me know. I think Toronto and Chicago just locked horns not that long ago. 8:45 p.m. tip-off here. We got Kim Birch as a game-time decision. Pascal Siakam did not play in the last game. Sounds like he's going to be out again tonight. So in his place, we might see Koloko and Boucher at the front court positions. Scotty Barnes had himself a pretty good scoring night last night. For whatever reason, Fred VanVleet is not in this expected starting lineup. I think VanVleet's going to play, but keep an eye on him. And then on the flip side, we've got Zach LaVine, game time decision. They've been kind of monitoring him, not playing him on back-to-backs, just try to monitor, maintain that knee injury he's been dealing with. Kobe White's a game time decision. Andre Drummond, I don't think he's going to play tonight, but again, the name of the game is stay on top of the news, because once news starts to fall, then you could jump on some value here and really find some pretty sweet picks. Still 6 more games to talk about. It is a fully loaded NBA slate. Slap the like button if you're excited for tonight's NBA action. A ton of fun games. And this is another one. Boston at Memphis tips off at 9 p.m. 230.5 points. One of the higher totals of the night. 3.5 point spread. For Boston, they pretty much got their same complement of players, but on the Memphis side, Steven Adams is listed as a game-time decision, but he's probably more probable than doubtful, so just keep an eye on Steven Smash Adams. That's my nickname for him, because he smashes his fantasy score on most nights, like he did for us back on Friday against Charlotte. Absolutely went bonkers. New York at Minnesota, another fun game. 234.5 points, huge total. 3-point spread. It favors Minnesota. No Rudy Gobert expected for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that means guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Ant Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell will have to start to pick up the slack. Kind of looks like last year's starting lineup for the most part. On the New York Knicks side, Quentin Grimes was recently inserted into the starting lineup. They took Fournier out, moved him to the bench. So Knicks are shaking things up. Coach Tibbs must not like what he's seeing out of this 4-5 New York Knicks team. Mitchell Robinson has been ruled out, so you're going to see more of Isaiah Hartenstein at the center position. He makes for a good option for rebounds. Big man, likes to get on the boards. Denver at San Antonio. These teams just played. I took Nikola Jokic for over first half fantasy in the last game against Jakob Poeltl and San Antonio Spurs. He was at 27.5 first half fantasy. He finished with 27.1. Woosah. 27.1 on a 27.5 first half fantasy score line. Pain. That's what that means. That means pain. He barely missed. Jokic has just not looked the same as far as scoring. I think Jamal Murray's presence shaking things up here for Jokic a little bit. It's been hard to really trust Jokic going over anything. Fantasy score, PRA, you name it, points. Jokic has just been a guy that's a little difficult to trust. But I love this game as far as the total, 234.5 points with a 7.5 point spread favoring the Denver Nuggets. This game did blow out the last time these two teams played. It could blow out again. So keep an eye on that one. Brooklyn at Dallas, 9:45 tip-off. No Kyrie Irving. Obviously, he's been suspended. He's serving that suspension. Ben Simmons, is he going to play tonight? Looks like he's expected to be in the starting lineup. Brooklyn's 4-6. They're looking to find their footing. They have yet to really get on any kind of roll here. They're going to be going against one of the best players in the league, if not the best player in Luka Doncic. But a low total on this game, guys, so quell your expectations, right? 217 points, not a very high total when you compare to some of these other games, like this next one we're about to talk about. So bring your expectations down a little bit. There's not a lot of points expected to be scored between Brooklyn and Dallas. Sacramento, Golden State tips off at 10 p.m., 234.5 total. Again, one of the highest totals of any of the games on tonight's 15-game NBA slate. Golden State, 7.5-point favorites. Curry, Wiggins, Iguodala, all game time decisions. We haven't seen Iguodala yet this season. I think Curry and Wiggins will play. I believe they were rested in their last game. Golden State off to a rocky start at 3-7. They're going to look to get a dub over their in-state rivals, right? The Sacramento Kings. Los Angeles Lakers at the Utah Jazz. Lakers Jazz, not a very exciting matchup. Can you believe the Lakers are 2-7? And Utah is 8-3 after getting rid of Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Bogdanovich, Royce O'Neal. Somehow the Utah Jazz have put together a better team than the Los Angeles Lakers, who have Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, just to name a few, right? How the hell is this possible? You got Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Lauri Markkanen, Jared Vanderbilt, and Kelly Olynyk, 8-3 versus the Lakers, who are 2-7. Oh, man. Make it make sense. 229 points, though, 4.5-point spread. Nice total. Hopefully it stays close and competitive. You're not going to see any Pat Bev, Dennis Schroeder. So it's going to be Kendrick Nunn, Lonnie Walker, Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, carrying the load for the backcourt for the Los Angeles Lakers. And then finally, we've reached the last game of tonight's slate, Cleveland at the LA Clippers. For the Clippers, one of the teams that are frustrating, guys. They are frustrating. Reggie Jackson, game time decision. Luke Kennard, game time decision. Kawhi Leonard and John Wall have already been ruled out. So that means PG-13. Paul George is going to have to carry the load once again. He'll have help from Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris, Ivica Zubac, and guys like Robert Covington. There we go. Came to me. Robert Covington off the bench, perhaps. Maybe they get a little bit of Norman Powell off the bench. Clippers have a deep team, deep roster. So this one's very low scoring once again, just 213.5, 4-point spread. Very slow, snail pace from this game, all right? So there you go. That's all the action tonight. Lots of things to stay on top of when it comes to news. Let's talk about some picks, gang. Appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you so much for those who just got here. It's okay if you're late. ZXR Skills. You still got time to slap that like button. You guys still have time to get subscribed if you haven't yet. But let's go ahead and talk about some of these picks and see what we got cooking. Limited board right now on PrizePicks. What I mean by that is there's a lot of props, a lot of picks out there that we're still kind of waiting on. But I think we got enough here to kind of put together a decent little entry. I want to start with Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield was one that we talked about recently on his 3-point makes. The guy's just been shooting a ton, a lot of volume from beyond the arc, and tonight he goes up against his former team, the New Orleans Pelicans, right? So maybe Buddy Hield looks to get his shot off against NOP. Let's do some research using props.cash, guys. Props.cash changes the way you do your player prop research. If you're not using props.cash yet, promo code Curry get you 25% off your first month of props.cash. Guys, I've left a link down in the description of today's video for you to get started using props.cash today. It's just $20 a month, $19.99. How can you beat that? Everything you want in terms of player prop research right here in one nice little dashboard. So we're going to drop down from points, go to 3-point makes. We're going to switch this from all games, and we're going to go take a look at the Indiana Pacers against the New Orleans Pelicans tonight and see if Buddy Hield is in a good spot to go over his 3-point makes once again. All right, taking a look here. How many games do we have this season? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games, it looks like. Wow, we're already getting into the heart of the NBA season. All right, looking good. All right, so in his, let's see, last 9 games, he's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 for 9, 56% hit rate. Why this kind of looks good to me is I talked about the volume that Buddy Hield's getting. Let's look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. All right. He's attempted 9 or more 3-point field goal attempts in 6 straight games. So if he's going to be shooting that many threes, 10.8 per game on average in his last 5 games, then his chances of making 4 or better, 40% roughly. He doesn't even have to shoot exactly 40%. He can shoot a little bit worse than 40% and, still get there for us if he's going to attempt 11 or 12 3-point attempts. He shot 12 in his last game, went 5 for 12 against the Miami Heat, clearing the 3.5 numbers. So Buddy Hield's just shooting threes at a very high volume. And we continue to see his minutes start to rise here over the last 6 games, going from 28 up to 32, 33, 38. Drops down a little bit with 35 against Brooklyn, but plays 40 minutes against Miami in his last game. So that's what we like to see. As far as the Pelicans defense goes, they rank 8th in 3-pointers allowed. That's total threes. They allow about 11 per game. And then 3-point field goal percentage, they rank 1st. So maybe it's a more challenging matchup than it first appears on paper. Speaking of matchup, let's go look at the DVP. This is defense versus position. This is basically how the New Orleans Pelicans perform on the defensive end against opposing shooting guards, small forwards at the 3-point prop. All right, so we're going to go look at the shooting guard spot first. Let's go find the Pelicans, see how many threes they're giving up to opposing shooting guards, about 2.3 per game. So they've done a pretty good job. That's the 4th fewest 3-point field goals allowed to shooting guards so far this season. So pretty good defensive team. Going to the small forward position here, they're giving up a little bit more to the small forward, about 2.9. We'll call it 3 if we round it up. We call it 3 3-point makes allowed per game. So Buddy's not in the greatest spot as far as matchup goes, but let's get you a projection. We're going to be using Fantasy Labs to help with these projections today. We'll go to the 3-point shot area. We'll go to Buddy Hield. Got him projected for 3.8 3-point makes, which is more than 3.5. But at 3.5, gang, a lot of people are betting the under here on Buddy Hield. Minus 125, minus 132 to go under. So this might be a night for us to stay off of Buddy Hield. This is why we do the research, though. The matchup doesn't look so good on paper. So although Buddy's shooting a lot of them, it's not going to be an easy time for him going up against New Orleans. So we'll leave Buddy off the list today. Another one that made me some money the other night was this guy, Devin Booker, at 5 assists. Now, I like him better at 5.5 assists, but at 5 assists, I still think he's in play for the following reasons. Let me show you. We'll go to the assist category. We'll switch this up. We'll go to Phoenix versus Philadelphia. Click on Devin Booker's name. Now, I want to take a look at what happens for Devin Booker when both Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson are off the floor for Phoenix. His assist rates are not that great. So we'll go back. We'll look at last season. We'll take Cam Johnson off. Where's he at? Cameron. So we'll take Cameron Johnson off the floor. Devin Booker at 5.5 assists, right? Because he needs 6 to go over. So we're looking to take the under here on Devin Booker. But he's just 6 for 15, 40% hit rate in games without Cam Johnson on the floor. So his hit rates are not very good. He has not assisted 6 or more times at a very high clip. Now I want to switch this up. We'll take Cam Johnson away and we'll put Jay Crowder off the floor and show you the hit rates there. Jay Crowder, boom. All right, so going back to 5.5 here, because he's going to need 6 to ruin us, right? At 5.5 assists, he's just 4 for 21, 19% hit rate against or with Jay Crowder off of the floor. So you can actually take both of these guys off the floor. So we'll do that next and show you kind of the hit rates there. With Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder off the floor, Devin Booker is now 0 for 3 going back to last season. 4 assists, 3 assists, 3 assists, averaging 3.3 assists in games where Crowder and Cam Johnson are both off the floor. So kind of gives you an idea of maybe what we can expect here. 5 assists seems just a touch too high. Touch too high for Devin Booker. He kind of takes on more of a scoring role without Cam, without Jay Crowder. And then last but not least, we could see how he's done against Philadelphia the last 2 times that he's played them. These are both from last season, has not faced the Sixers yet this season. Just 3 assists in one game against Philly, 2 assists in the next game. So he's averaging just 2.5 assists in 2 games from last season against the Philadelphia 76ers. So that's why I'm thinking we go under or take the less on Devin Booker at 5 assists. Let's take a look here at how many assists per game that the Sixers are given up to opposing shooting guards. Now we want this number to be low, right? As low as possible. So Philadelphia giving up about 5.2 assists per game to shooting guards, which means Devin Booker would basically have to account for every single assist that the Philadelphia 76ers are allowing to shooting guards on a per game basis, which is going to be very difficult, right? Because there's other shooting guards on the Phoenix Suns team. So I'm thinking we go under here. It just seems like a tall task for Devin Booker to find 6 dimes. He's just going to have to take on more of a scoring role. Let's also look at the small forward position, though. Philadelphia against small forwards, I like looking at both wing positions. They give about 2.8 assists per game to opposing small forwards. So again, that works in our favor if we're thinking about going under here on Devin Booker at 5 dimes. Now, last but not least, I'm going to get you a projection because the projections can be helpful. Looking at Devin Booker, he's projected for just 4.6. That's less than 5. He's at 4.5 on the books. At 4.5, they are betting this to go over. So it could end up in a tie or a push, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this tying or pushing at 5 assists. So I'm going to go ahead and take him again for less than 5 assists. What are you guys thinking? Are you in on Buddy Hield's 3s so far? Or are you out on Buddy Hield's 3s? Are you in on Devin Booker for more or less than 5 assists? I'm taking him for less. Now, while we're talking assists, I want to look at Ja Morant because Ja Morant's at 6.5. And at first glance, I think this number is like really doable. Seems really low for Ja Morant. We know he's got double-digit assist upside, right? We've seen him drop 11 against Charlotte in recent games. Now, some of these games, his last 5, he hasn't been dropping quite as many dimes. So I want to look at this one a little bit closer because this number just kind of caught my eye. Again, I'm not saying to take this. We're about to do the research together, and then you guys can make a decision on whether or not you think this is a good way to go or not. So let's go to that game. Boston at the Memphis Grizzlies. Pretty high total from this game, so that's why I'm thinking maybe we take the over or take Ja Morant for more than 6.5 assists. Just taking a look here at what he's done this season. He's played a total of 9 games. He is now 5 for 9, 56% hit rate, 9, 8, 7, 7, and 11. All right, this is a back-to-back for Ja Morant, something to kind of keep note of. You guys are saying Bradley Beal is out. That's breaking news. All right, Bradley Beal is out. Good to know, good to know. So Ja Morant, 5 for 9, 6.9 assists this season, and he's at 6.5 today. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea. Now, we could also look at something that we call potential assists using NBA.com's advanced stats feature. Now, this is just potential assists for everybody in the league. So you can kind of get an idea who's leading the league in potential assists per game. It's Tyrese Halliburton. Behind him, James Harden, Chris Paul, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Drew Holiday, Darius Garland. So Ja Morant is still pretty high up here at 13.4 potential assists, but he's definitely come down from where he was to start the season. This number has started to kind of fall a little bit. So he's not getting quite as many potential assists as he was to start the season. Let's go look at how he kind of stacks up to some of his other teammates like Desmond Bane and so forth. You could do that by using the team filter. We'll go down to the Memphis Grizzlies, click his name, click get stats. And then you can look at the potential assists. He's still dominating the potential assists on his team at 13.4. The next closest is Tyus Jones with 8.3, and then Desmond Bane's right behind him at 8.2. How do you join the Discord? Beckham, link down in the description below to Discord, to Patreon. Everything's down there for you to check out. But yeah, Ja Morant, 13.4 potential assists per game, still leading the team. As far as passes made, that's another thing that I like to look at. How many passes are being made by a player? Ja Morant still leading the way with 46.6 passes made. You got Desmond Bane, Tyus Jones right behind him. Those are the only 3 players on this team with 40 or more passes made per game. So I think his assists at 6.5, again, just seems a touch low, but again, his potential assists per game have kind of fallen the last few games. So let's go ahead and take a look at the DVP here for Ja Morant. He's going up against the Boston Celtics in a high total game, in a game that's supposed to stay close and competitive. Boston's given up about 6.5 dimes per game to opposing point guards. 6.5 happens to be the number that his line is set at today over on PrizePicks. Let's also take a look at the shooting guard position. Again, I like looking at both backcourt spots because the NBA is becoming more and more positionless, right? So they're giving up about 5 dimes per game to shooting guards. So we kind of have looked at that one pretty thoroughly. Let's do a little bit further research here using props.cash. We're going to go back to last season, games against Boston. He played Boston once back on March 3rd of this year, dropped 7 dimes against the Celtics in that game. Also want to take a look at last season in situations where he was on a back-to-back. 0 days rest. How many assists did Ja average? Well, 7.1 assists per game between this season and all the games last season, right? Let's see if that number goes up or down on 0 days rest. It goes down by quite a bit. 6.1. It drops a full assist on games in which he plays a back-to-back. So maybe we don't go over on Ja Morant at 6.5. He's only covered this on back-to-backs dating back to last season in 3 out of 9 games. That is a 33% hit rate. 6.1 assists per game average. And then you can see the Boston defense 4th in a total assists allowed to opposing teams at right around 22 per game. So this one is set pretty sharp here at 6.5. I don't feel so confident anymore in taking the over on Ja Morant. It looked pretty low at first glance, but that's why we do the research, right? He's projected for 7.4 assists. He's at 6.5 on your favorite sports books, but at 6.5, we're seeing some action coming in on the under. Minus 130 on PointsBet, minus 125 on BetMGM, minus 125 under on DraftKings. So a lot of these sites that have them up at 6.5, you're seeing action coming in on the under, meaning they don't have any faith that Ja Morant will find 7 dimes. So I think I'm going to have to leave him off here. Now there's one other guy here who has been the king of unders. Derrick White of the Boston Celtics, guys. Derrick White's points, his PRA, if you've been hitting the under on Derrick White, it's been a good thing. It's been making money. So let's take a look at Derrick White. My initial hunch or lean is to just say, keep clicking less. Keep clicking the under on Derrick White. Let's look into his game logs here, and I'll show you why that has been a good move lately. Derrick White has just not been getting the job done here. He's at 13.5 PRA. We're going to look at what he's done just this season here. And there's a whole lot of red, right? Even at 13.5, they've started to lower his line here. They're starting to catch on that Derrick White's role on this team is just not going to be what they thought it would be, especially with Malcolm Brogdon, who's coming off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon's using a lot of those minutes coming off the bench. Between Brogdon and Smart and Brown, I mean, they're kind of hogging up all the minutes and usage in that backcourt. But taking a look here at Derrick White, you can see that Derrick White has gone under in 7 out of 9 games. So he's only gone over in 2 out of 9. He had kind of a little bit of an anomaly here against Orlando with 35 PRA. So Derrick White has been the king of the unders here, going under in 6 straight games. Let's look at some other Derrick White props while we're at it, right? So we got his PRA, just 2 for 9, so that could be a good way to go under. What about his points at 7.5? 7.5, he's 3 for 9. So a little bit better hit rate on the points. So I might stay away from the points here. What about his points plus rebounds? Just 2 for 9 on the points plus rebounds as well. 22% hit rate. We got points plus assists at 10.5. I imagine that's going to be a little bit higher. No, still 2 for 9. Still 2 for 9. All right, so you guys can kind of see there's a lot of different ways you could go on Derrick White here. You can go PRA, 2 for 9. You could go points plus assists, 2 for 9. You could go just points, 3 for 9. So just, slap the under on this guy. Points plus rebounds, 2 for 9 on that. Not a very high hit rate kind of guy. So there's a lot of different ways you could go here. So which way is the best way? Well, let's try to see if we can figure that out. Derrick White kind of plays off the ball. He's more of like a undersized shooting guard for the Boston Celtics. Smart. He's their point guard. Derrick White kind of plays more of the off the ball role for the Boston Celtics. So they're going up against Memphis tonight. Let's see how the Memphis Grizzlies have done defensively in terms of points. We'll look at rebounds, and we'll look at assists for the Memphis Grizzlies. So they're giving up quite a bit of points here to the shooting guard spot. 24.6 per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 4.8 assists to shooting guards. As far as point guards go, we'll look at that as well. 24.5 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 7.6 assists. So they're not really locking teams down defensively, right? Is this a trap? Or do we click the under again on Derrick White tonight? It's a pretty high total game. 230 is the total. 3.5 point spread. But when it comes down to those crunch time minutes, typically what happens is that Malcolm Brogdon gets those crunch time minutes. You can see Derrick White's minutes kind of all over the place here. Against Orlando, he played 37, which probably is why he ended up going off like he did. Played 32 against Cleveland, but otherwise he plays like 22, 25, 26 minutes. He's right around that 25-minute mark, 20 to 25 minutes, I would say. Doesn't shoot a whole lot, right? So that's why the unders have been slapping the last 6 games. Maybe we just go back to the unders again on Derrick White today. Taking a look at a projection here, we'll look at a number of different projections on Derrick White, see what the projection models are saying. They got him projected for 8.1 points, a betting favorite to go over at 7.5. He's as high as 8.5 on some books. So that's not good if we're looking to go under. We don't like seeing sports books a point higher than where we're looking at on PrizePicks here, especially if we're trying to go under, right? So maybe we X that one out. What about his PRA at 13.5? He's at 13.5 most places. Looks like a slight betting favorite to go under. He's projected for 14.3. He's at 14.5 on one book. Big betting favorite to go under there. What about some of these other ones? Points plus rebounds. Points plus rebounds. He's at 10.5 on most books, just like he is on PrizePicks. He's at 12.5 on PointsBet. So if you're on PointsBet, definitely take the under at 12.5. You got points plus assists. That could be another option. We talked about the low hit rates on the points plus assists at 10.5. Yeah, he's pretty much at 10.5 everywhere. So PrizePicks is right in line with all of these other books, but Derrick White's hit rates super low, super low. So for me, I would just have to lean toward him going for either less points and assists, maybe the points plus rebounds, or maybe the PRA. Those would be my top 3 options for Derrick White. If you want to go under, those would be the ways to go under. His points plus assists, points plus rebounds, or PRA. So there you go. I think I'm going to go under on the PRA, and I'll leave him in there with Devin Booker. Tired of being alone? Will help you. Yeah, guys, don't click on this stuff. It's porn, okay? And if you don't know what porn is, it's bad for you kids. Stay away from it. All right, gang, give me the Q&As here. It's time to take some of your questions, time to take some of the props, some of the picks that you guys are liking. We've already got some news coming out. Bradley Beal being ruled out. So that's going to shake things up, obviously. So if you guys have questions, now's the time. I can go ahead and take some of those. Guys, if you want to guarantee that your question gets read here live on the show, super chat. Go to the live chat window. There's a button down there at the bottom. Looks like a little $sign, dollar bill or something like that. You can leave a super chat to highlight your comment to make sure, guarantee that I talk about it and that we see it. Let's see. Beckham, you should have received an email from Patreon that tells you how to link your Patreon with Discord. You got to link your 2 accounts, Patreon and Discord, and then that'll give you access to all of the channels that we have inside of our Discord. So, holiday rebounds. You guys are talking about Drew Holiday rebounds. Adams rebounds are being mentioned by Ibrahim. Chris is saying Randall threes. SGA PRA over. Okay. Caleb saying, who do you like in the Houston-Orlando game? I don't touch the Orlando Magic. There's a couple of teams that I'm learning my lesson to just stay away from. The Orlando Magic, I'm a fan, super fan of the Orlando Magic. I am not betting on the Orlando Magic. It is a total crapshoot as far as who will step up from game to game. One game, it could be Banchero going for 30. The next game, it could be Wendell Carter Jr. going for 30. Another game, it could be Franz Wagner popping out for 20. Or Jalen Suggs. I'm leaving them alone. I mean, did you guys see what Bol did? He started the game going 10 for 10, ended up with 20-something points. Now, I'm leaving the Orlando Magic alone. And I would recommend you leave the Orlando Magic alone. Okay? Leave the Magic alone. They are one of the most difficult, frustrating teams to figure out from a game-to-game basis. Do not touch them. All right? Leave them alone. Save yourself some money. Somebody's asking about Jrue Holiday's rebounds. I have not looked at Jrue Holiday for anything, but you guys are talking about his rebounds here at 4.5. Let's go see if Jrue Holiday makes sense today or not. Milwaukee's going up against Atlanta. Guys, we're still waiting on Giannis Antetokounmpo news. We're still waiting on Trae Young news from this game. Do I hope that both play? Yes, I hope that both play. We don't know for sure that they will, though. All right? So may want to wait on the news on both of those guys before you lock anything in from Milwaukee or Atlanta. But anyway, taking a look here, Jrue Holiday, 7 for 9, 78% hit rate, right? Looking really good, averaging 5.7 rebounds per game. Has played Atlanta once already, back in October 29th. Ended up with just 2 rebounds against the Atlanta Hawks in that game. Looking at the DVP here, Atlanta, as far as point guards go, how many rebounds per game are they allowing to point guards? Well, we go and find Atlanta in the list here of DVP, defense versus position. You can see they're giving up about 6.4 rebounds per game, which puts them closer to the top than it does the bottom, which means they're giving up a pretty decent amount of rebounds per game to the point guard position. Not looking too shabby here. One other thing that you could do to take this a step further, take your rebound research a step further, is looking at the rebound chances. Rebound chances are similar to field goal attempts, free throw attempts, or 3-point field goal attempts, right? These are opportunities for a player to grab a rebound. So let's see where Jrue Holiday ranks amongst his teammates in rebound chances. Now, for a point guard, that's actually pretty good. He's 4th on the team behind the likes of Giannis, obviously. He's number 1. Bobby Portis is number 2. Brook Lopez, number 3 at 12.3 rebound chances per game. But then you've got Jrue Holiday at 9.4. So let's say he gets 9 rebound chances tonight. He'll need to go 5 for 9 on those chances. So he's going to need to have better than a 50% conversion rate on the rebound chances. And you can see his average 5.7, like we talked about, 1.2 rebounds higher than where he is tonight at 4.5. Last but not least, projection time. You guys like them? I like them. I like to see what the projection models are spitting out at us. They got him projected for nearly 6 boards against the Hawks tonight. 6 rebounds. Big betting favorite to go over 4.5 right now. Guys, we're seeing juice. Big juice. Minus 150 betting favorite. Minus 145 betting favorite to go over 4.5 rebounds. So for me, yeah, that would be a more play. High hit rates this season. He's proven that he can get it done at 4.5 boards. Although he did falter. He did flop against Atlanta in a previous matchup, right? But outside of that, he's done really well against non-Atlanta Hawks teams. Huge juice coming in. Minus 145, minus 150. Good projection at 5.9. So yeah, I think Jrue Holiday could make the list at more than 4.5 rebounds. He is a point guard. He will be playing in a game full of trees. What I mean by trees is you got Brook Lopez, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis, right, on his own team. Then on the flip side, you've got Clint Capella. You've got John Collins. I mean, there's some big boys in this game. So it might be hard for Jrue Holiday. Maybe he ends up with 2 again, but looks pretty decent. What do you guys think? Are you liking the over? Do you like Jrue Holiday to go for more than 4.5 rebounds based on what we just looked at? Let me know, gang. Let me know in the chat. Roy's saying thumbs up. Thumbs up. Beef stew for points. Ooh, Isaiah Stewart for points. Let's look at Isaiah Stewart real quick. Isaiah Stewart definitely taking on more of a scoring role lately. He's taken more threes. We've talked about that in the past. He's at 11.5 points today. My man Don P, a.k.a. Everyday Fantasy, saying, He's liking Beef Stew to go for more than 11.5 points, coming off of a flop of a game against the Cavaliers. But hey, Cleveland's tough, right? Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, they ended up blowing out the Detroit Pistons in that game. And Isaiah Stewart did not have the best time, did not have the best matchup going against those trees. Tonight, he's going against OKC. So the matchup should be easier for Beef Stew. Let's look at the matchup real quick. We'll go to the center position. We'll head over to the points category, guys. Oklahoma City giving up nearly 28 points per game to opposing centers. That is the second most points allowed to centers to start the season, right? Almost 28 per game. He needs 12. He just needs 12. They're giving up 28. He needs 12. I think another solid way to go is Isaiah Stewart's fantasy score. Oklahoma City giving up 65.5 fantasy points per game to opposing centers. So you could go Isaiah Stewart fantasy score here as well. Typically score some points, grab some boards. You know, he could get a block or two, maybe a steal. So fantasy score could be another great way to go here on Isaiah Stewart against the team giving up more fantasy points per game than any other team out there. So don't sleep on the fantasy score for Beef Stew either. I think his rebounds are probably in play too. I mean, Oklahoma City's just really bad at defending bigs. So there's a lot of good ways to go with Isaiah Stewart. Let's actually look at maybe some of the other ways that you can play Stewart as of right now. You got 11.5 points, 10.5 rebounds, or 23.5 PRA. Okay. So they don't have fantasy score up yet. But if they add it, keep an eye on it. I think that would be a solid option. So let's go take a look at a projection here on Isaiah Stewart at 11.5 points. What are the likelihood, the chances of Stewart covering? Well, he's projected for exactly 11.5 points. Not really getting any kind of value here at 11.5. He's at 11.5 on PrizePicks, 11.5 everywhere else. So that's what I mean by no value on this. What about his PRA? His PRA is set at 23.5. He's at 23.5 everywhere else, and he's projected for exactly 23.5. So, yes, he's in a good spot. Yes, this is a great matchup for Isaiah Stewart. But as far as finding any value versus the sports books, everything's right in line today. It's pretty sharp. Even the rebounds are at 10.5. He's projected for 10.6 boards. So, for me, maybe I'd wait on fantasy score. But, yeah, I mean, I don't hate Isaiah Stewart in this matchup. I don't hate it. Let's see here. Beckham, you're just going to have to DM me in Discord. DM me after the show, buddy. We're talking props right now. I'd love to be your customer support rep, but I can't at the moment. So we'll talk offline, all right? After the show, I'll make sure you get taken care of. What else are you guys liking? Shiv saying no fantasy score available on Stewart. Not yet, but hopefully. Looking through the rest of the comments here. Got about, we'll say about 5 more minutes, guys, and then I'll wrap things up. So, a story untold. Randall's 3-pointers. Got OG's fantasy score. Halliburton's points. Jose's liking Halliburton. That's been a guy that we've gone to a lot, right? Tyrese Halliburton. Let's take a look at him today. Is he in a good spot or not? They've got his points up, his PRA up, and his assists up at 9.5. Which way are you trying to go on Tyrese Halliburton? Let me know. You want to go over or under on the points, Jose? I'm assuming you are like most people who like to take the overs. So I'm assuming you're wanting to go over on Tyrese Halliburton at 19.5 points. But you got to let me know. But yeah, in his last 5 games, 3 for 5, things have been a little bit more shaky for Hallie in the last few games. I'm just going to quickly get you a projection on this one. We won't go too in depth. He's projected for 28 or 21.8 points rather, close to 22. Here's what I don't like. Points bets got him at 18.5. So if we're looking to go over, I don't like having him at a lower line on a different book, right? And then at 19.5, it looks like the betting public, they are taking the under on Halliburton, minus 130, minus 120 to go under 19.5 against New Orleans. So it looks like it could be kind of a tough matchup against the Pelicans. Points per game allowed by the Pels to point guards. They're down toward the bottom of the list, gang. They're not giving up a whole lot of points, 22, 23 points per game. So I'm a little hesitant on Tyrese Halliburton. They are giving up 9.9 assists per game, though, and that is one of the higher marks in all of the league. And we talked about Halliburton is right up there amongst the league leaders in terms of potential assists. So maybe we go Halliburton for assists instead of his points tonight. Let's look at those potential assists again for Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah, he's leading the league in potential assists at 18.4 per game, averaging 9.3 assists per game. Looking at the totals again on this game, 233.5 with a 5.5 point spread. I mean, maybe you go with the assists instead of the points on Halliburton. But yeah, I'm not in love with his points tonight against New Orleans. They're just, not really giving it up. They're not really giving it up like that. But if you like it, take it, man. Let's see. Take one more. Guys, again, if you have something that's hard hitting, hard pressing, you want to help support the channel, leave a super chat. I'd be happy to look into it. But try to keep these at an hour unless something crazy pops up that you guys, need answered. And that's where you can use super chat to do that. Let's take Shiv's question here. He's asking about Steven Adams at 10 rebounds. We haven't talked any Steven Adams yet today. Had himself a good game a couple nights ago against the Charlotte Hornets. Absolutely smashed. But will he smash tonight against the Boston Celtics? He's at 9.5. That does seem kind of reasonable, right? Does seem kind of reasonable, especially when you look at the game logs here. 10 against Utah, 11 against Portland, 19 against Charlotte, 10 against Washington. Maybe Steven Adams' rebounds are worth taking here. Let's go look at the rebound chances per game for the Memphis Grizzlies real quick. We'll take Milwaukee out. We will add Memphis to the mix. I want to see who's leading the team in rebound chances. That's why we use this tool. So we go to rebound chances per game. Steven Adams, 18.7 rebound chances per game, averaging 11 rebounds per game through 10 games played this season. So averaging 11 per game. 9.5 is his number today, and he's dominating the rebound chances for the Boston Celtics. We could take a look at this one a little bit further here by going to the Memphis game, Memphis versus Boston. It'll be Al Horford versus Steven Adams. Taking a look here, Adams has hit this in 7 out of 10 games. 7 out of 10. He's gone 6 out of his last 7. What did he do against Boston last season? Let's take a look at that. He played them once, ended up going under with just 8 rebounds against Boston. But taking a look here, you can see where Boston ranks here. 21st in total rebounds allowed, 12th in offensive boards, 25th in defensive rebounds allowed. So they are giving up quite a few boards to opposing bigs, power forwards, and centers. Let's go to the center spot. Again, referencing this DVP chart, Boston giving up 17.4 rebounds per game to centers. Guys, that's the 4th most. They're giving up over 17 per game. He needs 10 of those 17. And I think I like that. I think that's a good, solid way to go. Let's go get you a projection here on Adams. He is at 9.5 rebounds on most sites. PointsBet has him up at 10.5. But yes, at 9.5, pretty big odds to go over. Minus 130. Minus 136, even minus 141 on some sites. And he's projected for 10.8 rebounds. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take Drew Holiday out, put Steven Adams in. And I think I'll take Derrick White under PRA. I'm going to flex this. We'll put $25 on it, and we'll see how it goes. Booker under 5 assists, Derrick White over under 13.5. So we got 2 unders here. Holy crap. Derrick White under 13.5 PRA, Devin Booker under 5 assists, and we'll go Steven Adams for more than 9.5 rebounds, $25 flex play. If Booker ends up tying and these other 2 guys end up hitting, we'll end up getting a backdoor 3x payout. It's like playing a 2-pick power, but you get the safety of a 3-pick flex. So, bang. That's what we're locking in. We'll see how it works out for us today, gang. That's going to be it, though. If you guys want to get entered in to win one of our free 2-pick power plays to win $100 on PrizePicks, here's what you got to do. You got to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You got to like today's live stream. Once the replay goes up on YouTube, you leave a comment with your favorite prop of the day. Maybe it helps one of our viewers. Maybe it helps one of our community members. All right. But that's how you can get your hands on a risk-free 2-pick to win $100 on PrizePicks. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment with your favorite prop of the day once the replay goes up, all right? Bearded Gator coming through with a last-minute super chat. Appreciate that. He's liking Julius Randle for less or under on the three-point makes. All right, let's look at it. Julius Randle. I was about to slide up out of here until Bearded Gator said, hold your horses, man. Pump the brakes, brother. I got a pick I want you to look at. It's Julius Randle for less than 1.5 3-point makes. All righty then, let's do it. He hit 3 against Boston. Prior to that, 1, 0, 0, 0. So he's 1 out of his last 5. Guys, we got to go look at the rest of these game logs here. The rest of these game logs. 3-point makes. New York versus Minnesota. Julius Randle. Looking at this season only. All right, he's hitting 4 out of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just easy listening. There are no locks of the day. Nope. Sorry, buddy. No such thing as locks. I don't know what you heard, but locks, they don't exist. The only locks, in fact, that do exist are these guys. You may have heard of them. You got Styles P, Sheik Luch, Jada Kish. You know, these are the only locks that I recognize. They're an American hip-hop group from Yonkers, New York, formed in 1994. The group is composed of East Coast rapper Sheik Luch, Styles P, and Jada Kiss. These are your locks. The only locks of the day. All right? Shout out to the locks. All right? We gonna make it. Anyway, Julius Randle, 3-point makes, 4 for 9, 44% hit rate. 44% hit rate, gang. Let's see how many attempts he's taking per game here. 3-point attempts, 6, 3, 9, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. His 3-point attempts are starting to take off here, which is a little scary. They're starting to go up. All right, Julius Randle at times, for some reason, will fall in love with taking threes. I do not like to tamper with Julius Randle on props typically, especially his 3-point. Every time I take his 3-point, I'm like, he ain't going to do it tonight. He comes out and knocks down 5 threes or something crazy, right? But yeah, I mean, for the most part, he has gone under this number this season at 1.5. As far as 3-point makes allowed to the power forward, center position, we could go take a look at both using this fancy little DVP chart. T-Wolves are giving up about 1.3 3-point makes to centers. 4th most. Kind of a, I don't know, arbitrary number we'll call it. As far as power forwards, they're giving up about 3 per game to power forwards. So that's where Julius Randle's going to be playing tonight against Isaiah Hartenstein, or alongside Isaiah Hartenstein versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they are giving up close to 3 3-point makes per game to power forwards. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'll leave it alone, but I will get you a projection here for this one, Bearded Gator. 1.6 projected 3-point makes. That's closer to 2 than it is 1, right? And then at 1.5 on the different sports books, he is a betting favorite to go over 1.5. I'm just not going to touch it. The matchup looks pretty good for Julius Randle to hit 2 or more. And again, I always get Julius Randle wrong. He's just one of those players, him, Bam Adebayo, some of these other guys. I just don't like touching any of their props. I'm going to stay away from it. All right? That is my final answer. I'm going to fade this prop. I'm not going to take it under. I'm not going to take it over. I'm not going to take it for less. I'm not going to take it for more. I'm just not going to take it at all. I think there's so many options. Why risk it with Julius Randle here when there's literally 15 games, 30 teams in action? There's so many more props. Why screw around with this guy? That's just how I see it. But that's going to be it, gang. I'm getting out of here. I'm signing out. Good luck on all your picks. Shout out to the locks. I'm going to go bump some locks right now. Favorite bets of the day. I mean, I don't know. The day is still young, my friend, but here's what I've got so far. Devin Booker for less than 5 assists. Derrick White for less than 13.5 PRA. And Steven Adams for more than 9.5 rebounds. Shrug emoji. Maybe it hits. Maybe it doesn't. I flexed it. We'll see what happens. Good luck on your entries today, guys. Catch you in the next one. Peace.